All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cover 4 Sports, where we cover 4 sports like football and basketball and
whatever.
Alex, what do you got for us?
All right, so we're going to start off today with not really a segment. We're just going to start with some trending topics. A lot of shit going down in the NFL right now that, has a lot of question marks on it. So what we're going to kick it off with is roughing the passer. We all know over the weekend some shit went down. Grady Jarrett basically set Tom Brady on a bed of pillows and lost the game on that one. And then my first ever, I think I've ever seen, is a strip sack fumble resulting in a roughing the passer penalty. So I'm going to kick it off right away. Let's just start with Dawson. Thoughts on this, specific things, or just in overall, roughing the passer? What do we need to do? What do we need to fix, man?
I mean, Kevin Hart said it the best, right, guys?
Yeah. Now is where it gets tricky, because now if y'all both come, now I just need to be laid down safely.
Right.
So you come grab my top half.
So we have to sit here.
Yeah, right here. Now you can come in and get my bottom half.
Okay.
Pick me up. Go ahead. Feel free. Now that's too hard. Don't put me down there. Y'all got something to lay me on? No.
This would be a penalty.
Get something down. Get something down.
Okay.
Lay me down.
Okay.
Don't you do me without that. Now make sure I'm safe. Now put that on, because I get cold. I get cold.
Okay.
Lay me down. I get cold.
You good?
Okay. No, I'm not good.
You're not good?
Now,
how about that? You good now?
No, one of y'all give me a story.
Here we go.
Say something nice.
No, I mean, it's insane. I mean, as we all know, Tom Brady always, I feel like, has this royalty treatment in a way.
Okay, so I want to touch on that immediately. I looked this up after the game. In the last 4 years, Tom Brady has only received 2 roughing the passer calls, including Sunday.
Really?
That's
actually
he's
really
untouchable.
And so I don't know if that's because he always cowers in fear, like he's being haunted when he gets, when someone gets near him. But yeah, this was interesting.
Well, he's just waiting to get touched.
It's because his release is so fast.
It's got to. No one ever gets to him. So when they do,
it's like 2 seconds
left.
left.
So I don't know. I'd like to look at how many sacks he has in comparison to that, or quarterback rushes, or hurries, or whatever you call them. But it was interesting. So like I like your point, but it's an interesting fact because I thought the same thing immediately. Yeah.
So did y'all see the Kansas City Raiders game?
Oh, I mean,
the roughing the passer on Derek Carr. I mean, granted, they still threw the game anyways, but that was pretty brutal in my opinion. I feel like they're borderline calling it on nothing in a lot of these plays. But Troy Aikman said it best, in my opinion, when he said, at some point they got to stop wearing the dresses. But he's under a lot of flames for saying that. So I'm not saying I confirm nor deny what he said.
We do not agree with Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Clearly, this podcast, we are PC at this podcast. We don't fucking agree with stupid ass fucking Cowboys.
I genuinely would go as far as to say though that the refs need to chill out. All right, these are game-changing decisions. These are automatic first downs. These are 15 yards. I mean, roughing the passer is one of the most bullshit penalties in the league, if you ask me.
I mean, but we could also go back and talk about the Tua hit. That was the exact same style that they did against Brady, but Tua actually got slammed to the ground.
So
they didn't call that. So it's just
that's a great point. Representing the Miami Dolphins over here. So we have 2 straight weeks where a Miami Dolphins quarterback goes out with a concussion. Whatever you want to talk about the concussion protocols and all that, but Tyler Hendrickson, which I think it's Tyler Hendrickson. I know his last name's Hendrickson, but I think Tyler's his first name. Basically throws Tua to the ground like a rag doll, which is probably the point of emphasis that resulted in the Tom Brady
Definitely
call.
threw him a lot harder than Tom Brady.
Right. But this basically kills Tua. I mean, what the fuck? And not even a flag, not even an afterthought
Not even a
flag, right? Whereas we discuss Tom Brady's first flag, should it be a roughing the passer, and they leave it. Whereas you can't discuss it the other way. If you didn't throw a flag right away, you can't look back at that and go, "Oh, we almost murdered a guy. Maybe we throw a flag on that one." But
do we think that they're doing this because they're being so strict on those calls because of the whole concussion that happened to Tua? Do you think they're getting more strict on that? I mean, we do see that.
If you were to focus more on the players, and make sure that your quarterback's protected, and they call roughing the passer calls to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen, that's great. But when they're 15-yard penalties, they're drive-changing outcomes. I think a little revision might be necessary on a play like that. That's just me personally.
Well, and here, maybe that's the overall point. Do we need a rule change here? You know, we got the Texas Longhorns helmet out here today. So let's talk about college for a second with targeting, right? Targeting happens. You're a ref. You're on the field.
I hate that call so much.
But you see it and you go targeting. But then you have the option to go to the booth and say, okay, did that guy really target? And you can take it away. Why is roughing the passer not in the same milieu?
Because the NFL.
One, for targeting, they need to take away the ejection rule. That is so, like, you can lose your best player, and like no matter the magnitude of the game, it could be like the biggest game on the stage, and you know.
It can be a weak targeting call.
Yeah,
just as long as it's.
And
the
these plays are
definition.
bang bang.
But
When you're on defense, like I played defense growing up myself, and like this, it's so hard to control where you hit somebody, how you hit somebody. Like, you're playing as fast as you can, you're playing as aggressive as you can. You're in there to make tackles. You're in there to hit people. Like Michael Parsons came out and said, like, I get paid to hit people. So like, they asked him, "Are you worried about getting these roughing the passer calls?" He said, "No, I get paid to hit people. Whatever happens, happens." And like, for someone to get ejected in such like all these big college games, and they're trying to make it to NFL. They got all this stuff online. They got these NIL deals, all this stuff. For you to get ejected off a targeting call is bogus to me. But that's just a side.
I mean, that is a side, but I mean, in general, there's got to be something to fix roughing the passer. Because let's be honest, as a group, we've all, as fans, have accepted that roughing the passer is a thing. I mean, back in the '70s, you could break someone's neck, and that was just, oh yeah, good hit, right? But now we've accepted, that the game is softer for safety reasons. But this has gone too far, and there's got to be something in place to prevent these game changing calls. I mean, the Bucks were gonna win that game, I think, but they were gonna punt away. Marcus Mariota, Giselle's new boyfriend, was gonna come down, and you have no idea.
I wouldn't say they were gonna win that game. That was a very pivotal call. If they get that stop there, which that was
2 minutes
They
left
had
in the
15
game.
unanswered
2 minutes left in the
points. They
game,
would've got the
Falcons
ball
get the
back.
ball back. What was it, 17-22 or something like that?
No, it was 15 to 21, so it was a 6-point lead.
Either way, nevertheless, it was within a touchdown. They could have easily taken the lead with that.
I agree.
They should at least had the opportunity.
I mean, I'm just saying in general. I think we believe that Tampa Bay. I mean, it was a 15-point comeback already at that point. To get to that point, it seemed like Tampa Bay had it in control. But in general, that changed the whole game. Now the Chiefs game, Patrick Mahomes. You piss off Andy Reid, you piss off Patrick Mahomes. They're gonna come back and fucking slash you in the second half, which is exactly what they did.
The Raiders had their chances.
But a big change in maybe any other team, they don't have the firepower that the Chiefs do, and they can't come back from that because that was a 3-point swing for the Raiders, which the Chiefs started field goal range. Somehow the Chiefs again did like a 13-second field goal when they got the ball back after that. I don't know how they do that. I'd love to know what that play call sheet looks like, but. That's what I'm saying. I mean, these are game-changing things, and if you're not the Chiefs, you can't overcome them. And I think a review process for me, and I'll ask around. A review process where it's like it's either egregious, and if it's not, you pick the flag up. And I think I don't think it should be challenged either. I think it should be a booth review. This is a New York calls down and goes, "We're not sure about this one. We're gonna need you refs to go look and say, hey." Yeah, we messed up. He stripped the ball. It's in his hand, and he put his other hand down. And what is a 350-pound guy supposed to do besides fall most of his weight on Derek Carr at that point now that he's the runner? I mean, come on.
That's actually, again, something I always talk about Michael Parsons, but it's because he's one of my favorite players in the league right now. But he said that, too. He's like, I get these refs have to make these plays, boom, boom, like, it's hard to make the right call, but he says he thinks, someone above them should be able to, make the final decision on it. So it should be reviewed by New York or, someone who can actually see the play unfold, in instant replay. And they tried to do this with, pass interference, and they still blew some calls, which is crazy to me. This is just something I've been worried about since I honestly started becoming a fan of football. As I started to see how the league, they basically... They coddle these players now, and like the defenses are susceptible.
They're almost powerless.
Yeah, like
I mean,
it really sucks to play defense right now because you.
But a good defense in 2022 is nothing like a good defense in
exactly. Like you're not allowed to hit these people. Like
it's pure technique now because you can't touch them.
And these people on offense are more talented than ever, stronger than ever, faster than ever. So it's like you're asking to tackle someone like Lamar Jackson, but you have to do it the perfect way. Like it's hard enough just to tackle him in general, but you want me to do it. the exact perfect
And
way
now
that
I
you
gotta
want.
wrap him up, and then bring him around.
you
But
still
once
might
I
fall.
bring him around,
But
I gotta let go of him so he falls on his own.
And these people are already impossible to tackle, so it's a struggle. But I definitely think there should be a replay involved because
I mean, it's
you know,
kind of like touchdowns. I mean, they
a huge call.
Recently, they were like, fuck the challenge flag. If it's a touchdown, we'll call it a touchdown. We'll look back.
We're just gonna look back at it.
Yeah.
Roughing the passer, automatic
Basically,
first down. So it could be 3rd and 45, and then like you get a roughing the passer call on a play where he was about to get sacked, quarterback just barely threw it away, and then he gets hit, and they start roughing the passer.
That's
It's
exactly
like
what happened.
automatic first down.
Tom Brady wasn't going anywhere near it.
Exactly. None of these plays. Yeah.
So
it's a struggle.
no, I think in general, I mean, everyone agrees. A little
What
bit.
do you think?
And then these two
I
concussions just
often
complicates it.
thought that like players are coddled because of the penalties, the fact that there's no review for most of these penalties, and I thought things might be a little bit like leading in the right direction when they started challenging pass interference calls. That lasted like a year and it didn't go well
that was
at
a
all.
disaster.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was terrible.
terrible.
It was
That was
absolutely
terrible.
terrible. But the reason stuff like that was initiated was for the right reasons, because players like these are getting coddled. I think Michael Parsons actually said it best when I saw his tweet the other day. He said, "Might as well go out there and play 7-on-7." Because I mean, seriously, like these players, these great playmakers, are being negated practically for non-sequential penalties, and I think. I don't know. Personally, I don't think there is a solution. Not because there isn't a practical answer.
Well, they figured
because
it out in college with targeting.
No, that's what I'm saying. Not because there isn't a practical
think
answer,
they
but
figured it
because
out
it'll never
completely.
actually be implemented with the current system we have dealing with.
I mean, they'll never quite figure it. But you're saying targeting's not right. But let's be honest. This weekend, if the rule existed to review roughing the passer, you wouldn't be thrilled with every call. But those two,
I actually think it's easier
would have been overturned.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to review roughing the passer than it is like pass interference, because pass interference is a continuous play. Like people run downfield.
And there's so much extra
Yeah.
grabbing.
Roughing
kind
the
of just
passer is like I feel like roughing the passer is clear cut. It's like
It's
when
clear,
they're
it's
getting tackled, like
Did you intentionally crush him?
Did you intentionally rough him up?
We
What's
see
going on?
refs all the time. I mean, like they're seeing it live.
you
action.
drive him
Like,
into the
they're
ground a
gonna
little bit
throw
extra
flags,
because you don't like him.
Yeah. All right, I get it. All right, let's move on to the next piece here. So we have to touch on this. All right, we got one more thing.
Was that a cover 4?
Are we all saying? We're all saying running the pass is wrong. It's got to be.
Everybody in the world knows that.
Cover 4.
Cover 4.
Cover baby. Okay, let's go.
All right, our first cover 4. That's rare. Cover 4 early in the show like that. So we're gonna jump on that. So all right, next one. We gotta talk about Dan Snyder. This fucking guy. Not only does he have one of the worst organizations ever, as far as the whatever you want to call them now, the Commanders, the Washingtons, the can't be named because of PC reasons, right? But I mean, let's talk about the fact that he is just a universal piece of shit. This guy has now been investigated for being a piece of shit. Now he's investigated for embezzlement. And now he's coming out saying, hey, if the ship goes down, the whole NFL goes down with me because I got dirt on all these owners. And he even said, Cowboys fan, he said Jerry Jones' name specifically. I got dirt on the Jones family specifically. He did say specifically. He does not have good English, you know. Just because you're a billionaire does not mean that you speak good English. That is true. So, guys, let's break this down. Aaron, what do you think? Well, I mean, what do we do with this guy? Do we just kill him in a back alley?
Yeah, this guy's a rat, and I was listening to someone.
Snitches get stitches.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, but the thing is, when you got money, you got people, backing you up. And I was listening to someone earlier, and they were saying, this is what happens when the only requirement to own such an exclusive team and an exclusive league. Like, there's only 32 teams out there, so there's only 32 of these possibilities out there in the world to grab, and the only requirement for you to grab them is to have money.
Most money, and be willing to spend it.
Exactly. So you're gonna get people that don't have the right morals, but they have the money. If that's the only thing you're requiring, like if they're not requiring people to be invested in the sport, actually have knowledge of the sport, actually be a part of the sport, they just have money, then yeah, you're gonna get some bad things going on. And the thing with this guy is, he's one of those bad apples, and everybody knows it. Everybody hates him. Everybody wants him out the league. They've been wanting him out the league, but he's got enough money to, he hired private investigators. He's hired all these people to do research on all these people, like
these guys don't show cheaters,
and he's been in the league for he's owned this team for like over 20 years. So he's got some dirt, no doubt. People are saying that he's the one that leaked the John Gruden emails and stuff that got him fired. And I don't doubt it. I think this guy probably does know some stuff. He's got enough money to hire people to figure out some stuff. And that's the only reason I feel like he hasn't been kicked out of the league, because with his track record, he definitely would have been kicked out as an owner because he's terrible and everybody hates him. But why does he still have a team? Because he might probably have some dirt on these people, and the commissioner especially. I definitely think he's into some shady shit. I never liked him, so he's probably got some dirt on him that's keeping him with his team, and hopefully it doesn't end a fiery blaze.
Yeah, no, I just this guy. He's
What's he got on Jerry Jones? I don't know.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Is he ready to burn? Is he ready to burn it all down? It seems
is.
like it. And it's like, are we stuck with him because he will burn it down? Yeah.
Might be a good thing if he does.
Everybody in the world hates you. What do you got to lose?
I was gonna say.
Might be good for the Cowboys at least.
Let's be 100% honest. You guys like Jerry Jones?
No.
Okay.
I think he's a great business.
Do I like our fucking owner that is going out on yachts trying to recruit Tom Brady and getting suspended and fined $200 million or whatever, or $200 million? Fucking, that was like $5 million. But I mean, Jesus, like these owners are, I think across the board. I think what he's saying is nobody likes me. But we're all pieces of shit, and if you guys want to open that door, we can.
I just got caught.
Yeah, I just got caught embezzling.
And the thing is, when you own an NFL team, like you've seen the values of each of these teams increase every single year, so it's a huge asset to have, and it's so hard to accumulate because not that many people are nobody's selling teams except for
the Broncos just
barely,
sold, but they sold them to fucking Walmart. The Waltons bought it, right?
It happens so rarely that.
And it's the Waltons, like
these are precious
the one that's married to the one that owns the Rams. So like. That's what happened.
These are hard assets to accumulate. So you're not just going to sell it because
money there.
He bought it for like $300-something million. It's worth $4 billion right now.
Pat Bolin's only getting rid of it because his kids never. It's hard. Pat Bolin died, and his kids were like, "This is a lot of work."
Yeah, it's hard to find assets.
We just want $4 billion.
So he's definitely not going out of that fight because these assets are like precious gold.
And they're the opposite of the stock market right now. They're just
$300-something million for $4 billion. Like, where are you gonna find return on value like that? Like, so he's not just gonna sell. Like, he's gonna do everything he can to keep his team honestly.
Yeah. All right. So we.
I'm sorry, I can't dominate that.
We're good.
You said it well. You said it well.
Dan Snyder's a piece of shit.
I never liked this guy.
Roughing the passer's broken, and the concussion protocols. I don't even want to talk. I don't even want to talk.
It's giving me a headache. I think I got concussed.
Right.
I get concussed.
Stop stumbling. I'm gonna kick you off.
All right, so let's move into our that was our opening, but let's move into our regular segment here every week on the show. Like I said, guys, we're gonna do the helpful or homer segment. We're gonna hit up the Cowboys fans. They're coming off a big win. I didn't think they'd get it over the Rams, but man, looked good. Well, they won the game. But what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a really, really good one off the bat here, Anthony. I'm going to get your opinion on it because my opinion when I watched the game, the backfield, Zeke or Pollard, baby. I mean, I know Zeke got the big contract. That was a little while back. Now he looks like the fucking Power Ranger with the helmet on there. But Pollard's breaking big. He's got the speed. Zeke lost a little weight, but he got fat there for a while. I mean, what are we thinking? Is it time to just say, hey, Zeke, why don't you find a new home? We're going to run with Tony Pollard.
I think a lot of people underestimate contract structure, and that's the whole reason Zeke's been here as long as he has been. When it comes to financially, we've been tied to Zeke for a while. Now, it would honestly not make much sense.
He made it that way.
Exactly. I mean, he kind of forces in our hand. I thought right when we got Tony Pollard and we kind of started to see some bright sides of him that it might not be necessary to sign Zeke so abruptly to this fat contract. They went ahead and did it anyways, and obviously we saw the fallout. It didn't result in many great plays. But I look at Zeke right now, and I got to say, obviously he's not rookie Zeke. He's not going to be as prime as he was, but at least compared to the past couple of years, he's probably in the best condition he's been in a while. He's running harder and he's running faster and breaking out, I guess, better plays than he has been. He's at least getting on these up the gut obvious run designs at least 4 or 5. They're both averaging around the same yardage, believe it or not. Zeke just has significantly more carries, and a lot of his yards are for a lot shorter gain. Whereas Pollard will get stuffed and get stuffed and get stuffed, and then he'll find that one that breaks him out that obviously makes him look the more appealing running back. I think right now, for this year's team, I'm not worried about it. I think we have a great ground and pound up the middle. I think we have a hefty back in Zeke that can get some of the short yardage gain that we want. And then we have the explosive playability in Tony Pollard, and it works really well. Now, I got to say, going forward, financially, Zeke takes up a large portion of the team's contract. You have this young, still very healthy, still very fast, agile running back in Tony Pollard, as well as, I mean, there's plenty of other backs out there in the league with, big run capability that can get a couple yards. So I think going forward, Zeke will wind up getting traded or just cut. I would assume based off his contract, it would probably be in a trade. However, the Cowboys do love to just stick their guns with terrible players that they sell jerseys for. And, Zeke started doing this a couple years ago, and that sold a lot of jerseys. I have a Zeke jersey. So, I mean, when it comes down to it.
So what you're saying is, so for this year, good 1-2 punch.
It's actually a pretty decent combo.
But when we're talking financially speaking, we're talking the future.
I
Pollard's looking good. You can bring anyone in to do what Zeke's doing.
I think they should definitely get rid of Zeke going forward, despite,
Draft or free agency? What do you think?
Draft. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, Aaron, what do you got?
I got a lot to say, so I'm going to let Dawson talk first.
All right. Okay. Well,
I mean,
Aaron's about to go off on us.
Yeah, so
Everybody here.
I may even just skip over to Aaron right now. No, I mean, so I actually agree with what you were saying over there, Anthony. I mean, Zeke, he's had a terrible couple last years. I mean, of course, everyone can say the injury last year was something that limited him, which it did. But this year we've kind of seen that.
So you like him this year?
I like him. He's doing better.
He's
doing better.
Right.
But I think the best thing for us this season, I love the 1-2 split we got going on this kind of.
But dump that contract.
But we're spending a lot of money on him. If possible, I would like to trade him away, let Pollard start out. But
okay, all right. So we got two.
But I'm gonna go ahead and hand it off to Aaron. I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, let's see it.
Yeah.
I would just like to, send a message out there to all the GMs, owners, offensive coordinators, anybody controlling anything that has to do with the team building. You do not pay running backs.
just flat out period.
You do not pay running backs. You do not draft running backs high. Like Zeke coming in to the league, he rushed for like 200 yards a game during each playoff game in the college football finals. Was scoring like 4 touchdowns a game, going crazy. Saquon, amazing college career, like going crazy. Mm-hmm. But when these guys get in the league, like running backs just not a position that is worth that much. And I love these running backs, love all of them. But like you look at the teams that are struggling right now, that are paying their running backs. You got Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry. You got Zeke
Christian
Elliott
McCaffrey.
not living up to that. You got Christian McCaffrey. You got Nick Chubb. You got Aaron Jones. You got all these running backs with these big contracts, and they're not able to carry the team on their backs like their contract would say they would be able to. You could be using this money towards defensive pieces, offensive linemen, all these things. Like running backs, yes, they can be important, but like look at Tony Pollard. What are we paying Tony Pollard right now? I don't even know, but I know it's a lot less than Zeke.
It's a lot less than Zeke. Yeah,
and there's a lot to be said about Zeke's best years were when you guys had the best offensive line in all of football.
Even his best years, he was not worth the money we're paying him now.
Yeah.
And I obviously having Zeke on our team is a good thing. Zeke and Pollard is a dynamic 1-2 punch. You got Zeke who's punishing the defense. He's always looking for contact, and that does tire out the defense. So you do need a bruiser back like that. You don't need a bruiser back to make $100 million a year. Or his contract, whatever, but Zeke is helping the Cowboys offense. He's wearing down the defense. Like defensive players, they don't want a running back like Derrick Henry or anything like that seeks contact every single play. Zeke does that, and he's a great pass blocker. So he does definitely help us, but he's definitely not worth the money we're paying him. Tony Pollard is more dynamic, more explosive, makes more plays. We'd be better off if I had to choose Tony Pollard or Zeke. I would choose Tony Pollard.
So we basically got everyone's kind of saying the contract's the problem here. I mean,
the contract is different.
Zeke's not a bad running back. It's just when you give a contract like that, you expect the world. Yeah. Like what Derrick Henry did the first time he got that contract.
They don't live up to the contract.
If I could kind of like segue into a side conversation, this is something I'm kind of interested in your thoughts on. I mean, it's kind of unfair positionally when you think about it. I mean, running back is the fastest position you're going to deteriorate from as you continue to hits and you're constantly grounding football. I feel like contract structure wise for rookies and like coming out, like especially
they're huge for quarterbacks. Should
exactly.
it be huge for a running back too?
I think it should be more front end like higher, like loaded, I guess, contracts for running backs as they're healthy.
Well, a great segue also to that, right? Deebo Samuel literally telling San Francisco, I don't want to be your running back anymore because it's breaking me down.
It's terrible. I played running back. I broke my finger like the first game. Like, you get hit all the time. You get stepped on by these big-ass linemen, big-ass defense linemen. Like, you literally are in the much of all these 300-pound dudes.
I remember like the big Le'Veon Bell. It was like around the time like Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, and Zeke started to kind of like sit out a little bit because they were the top backs at the time, and obviously
they knew they were running low on gas.
You look at when they started to get their contracts, and obviously everything started going downhill a little bit there.
They knew it was coming.
Exactly. I mean, and this game is like. I mean,
the only person that survived is him.
Crazy
because he's a monster.
The quarterbacks make all this money, and these quarterbacks are so well protected and so non-physical for them. And then the most physical position on the field is probably like you said, like you were saying, to owners don't pay your running backs. But that seems kind of fucked. I don't know.
All right,
so it's fucked for the running backs, but
I think in
general, I get it.
Imagine how much more money we'd have if we didn't have Zeke.
Imagine if they front loaded his contract and he was cheaper now, and he was worth it when we would have front loaded his contract.
How much money are we going to be paying him to front load?
I don't know. They got to figure that out. And you look at the structure of a quarterback. Quarterback comes out. I think they get like $20 million a year on their rookie deals, even if they turn out to be Mitch Trubisky, right? And so what if you do that with Zeke? And then in his first year, it's like, oh yeah, we're paying him money. He's happy. And then as his career deteriorates, like, oh, okay, well now that it's falling apart, we'll get rid of him. And then maybe another team will sign him. Who knows? I don't know. Then he gets a Chase Edmonds deal for $2 million, drops every fucking pass that's thrown to him, and gets thrown right back to practice squad. I mean, these things can happen, but I think in general what we're saying is contract structure. You can't wrong. But Tony Pollard, the future, because he's cheap. Mm-hmm. But don't go pay Tony Pollard either.
No.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
Running backs are replaceable. Look at the 49ers. They got like 4 starting running backs.
It's really a tough position. Yeah. It is.
No, I agree. So I'll say, actually, all that, guys, 100% helpful. You didn't really even answer the question, Pollard or Zeke. You guys went totally fucking different direction. I mean, you said Pollard, but in reality, you're looking at the real problem.
If they're getting
paid
the same.
That is helpful advice. If you let's talk to all of GMs. Say, hey, let's.
I just gotta send this video to like Jerry Jones. Be like, hey, little fuck.
Yeah, we'll submit it to 105 through the fan. All right. Next question here. So I'm gonna throw this one to Dawson off the bat here. So this is a little thing I put together. I like to call it on a scale of no to Flacco. How bad is your offense in comparison to your defense? So we all know Joe Flacco took the Ray Lewis defense to the Super Bowl and they were able to win, but Joe Flacco's absolute trash. You guys, right now, this defense, I know we had an argument about this last week, was it the 49ers, was it the Cowboys, whatever, you guys fucking lit up the Rams. No joke, that happened.
Told you so.
Yeah. You did.
But what I want to know is this offense ain't doing much. I think your defense, if you're counting times you started in the other side of the field, and those field goals go to the defense for points, your defense might have more points over this 4-game stretch than your offense. So, on a scale of Flacco to no, we've got a good offense.
Well, and so let me ask for clarification on the question. So, are we talking with Dak Prescott back in, or are we talking now?
Whatever the future can hold. Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, doesn't matter. Whatever you want.
Well, okay.
Any dream scenario.
Too. But before I really say the answer to that question, what I want to point out is the weapons on each side. So, and you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So I do think the defense, of course, is better than our offense. Obviously, Dak comes back. I still think our defense is better than our offense.
Right, but are they going to have to carry them every game? Or are you guys going to finally score 40 points? Or are you going to finally, if it gets into a shootout and the defense isn't holding on, are you going to finally fucking
with Cooper Rush as quarterback, we are completely reliable on defense.
Okay.
Completely reliable on defense.
Okay, so now Dak's back. Let's talk about that.
Well, depends on his flowing, really, but he's never going to go away. No, so I think so. We're not going to rely as heavily, but we're always going to rely on our defense. Our defense is our strong asset on our team.
So you're saying if this is a Super Bowl team, this is a Flacco Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, you know what they say about defense, right?
Flacco or no? That's the question, Dawson.
It's Flacco.
It's Flacco. All right, we got Anthony.
No. I think the defense right now at this point is obviously carrying the offense, and I think what Cooper Rush is doing and being a serviceable quarterback to get just enough to hang us in there is phenomenal. Shouts out to that guy. I think he's actually doing surprisingly better compared to what I thought he'd do. But I think we're looking at like this team right now as if it's Cooper Rush's team, but I seem to be like one of the few Cowboys fans that just hasn't forgotten 2018 Dak Prescott before he went and fucked up his leg and came out a little shaken up the next year. This guy in the first 4 games was dropping like 40 points a game, was probably one of the highest fantasy assets to hold within the game, and there were some pretty comparable defenses he was playing against as well. I mean, one of them was the Falcons, so not all of them, but nevertheless, I really think that Dak Prescott, when healthy, when confident, is arguably one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Now, I'm saying not the best, but one of the better quarterbacks in the league. So I don't think we're going to need to rely on the defense as much, which is very good for me to hear myself say out loud, because knowing how much we rely on them right now, we're still winning games, is beautiful. I think the days when Dak Prescott comes back and we have a more powered offense, or at least somebody that's more challenging.
You think this offense can put up 35 points?
I think this offense can put up 35 points with Dak Prescott in the helm.
Wow. Okay. All right. Aaron, what do you got?
This question is a joke.
Oh yeah. Because it's definitely Flacco, right?
When they had Joe Flacco, they had no offensive weapons at all. And honestly, if you're telling me that
I can move to Trent Dilfer.
If you're telling me that the Cowboys are relying on their defense to win games and that defense to win games, then I feel really good about the Cowboys, honestly. Because they have all the talent on the offensive side. And so if their defense is carrying the team, and then we just have to get our starting quarterback back to,
So I'm missing the talent. I look at a rough offensive line. I look at an aging running back. I look at CeeDee Lamb, whose hands are made of stone and can't catch shit. And I look at all of these older / were they ever going to be good? Gallup and all this crap you got. Cedric Wilson, maybe the only good thing you traded.
Tell
with
me
the Dolphins.
one other team that has 3 future Hall of Famers on the offensive line.
I mean, future Hall of Famers are great when they're not in their 50s.
I mean, 2 of them
You have an effective one.
I think okay. Well,
you have an effective.
I mean, Jason Peters.
I'm gonna go ahead and put. Can we get a Homer face right on him with the fucking future Hall of Famers? They're great and they're the best.
Jason Peters.
They are getting.
He's past his prime. Jason Peters is like, when we play him at guard, he was dominating the line, and he is a savvy vet who can obviously teach Tyler Smith and help him coach him up. And then you have Tyron Smith, which he's barely ever healthy, but when he is, he's still they rank him like the 4th best tackle in the league. This year, before this year started, like the NFL, ESPN, I don't know who it was, they came out with the power rankings of offensive tackles. He was like 4th overall. And then we have Zach Martin, who is arguably the best guard in the league.
Okay, I'll give you Zach. I will. Zach Martin. Look, Zach.
It's not spending first round
Tony
picks
Pollard,
on offensive line.
CeeDee Lamb,
And
Michael Gallup.
I think it's working out quite well.
No. For you guys, what you're, I thought what you were saying was how many teams spend first round picks and they don't work out. And I think you guys did for a while. I mean, those early years with Zeke, you had a great offensive line, but it's aging. You've let a lot go. Zach Martin is perennial Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer, no questions asked here. But I mean, look at all these teams. I mean, the Dolphins, they go out and they get 3 first round picks for offensive linemen. None of them are playing for us. I mean, the one that does, Austin Jackson, I'd literally kick him right in the ass to make sure that he was still hurt and stays on the IR.
Cowboys are actually good at drafting. Look at Michael Parsons.
Look at Tyler Smith.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tyler
how
Smith
many times have you
Terrence
called Tyler
Steele,
Smith's name?
Terrence Steele has been
What
playing
about the Wolf?
exceptionally
What about the Wolf
well.
Hunter? What is his name? Leighton Vander Esch.
Terrence Steele.
That was great.
All I'm saying is we have plenty of people.
I mean, Noah Lodway's still on the Dolphins. I'm not excited about that.
He's still on the team.
We have plenty of people on the offensive side. We have enough talent there, and we don't have a starting quarterback. Last year we led the league in scoring, if I'm not wrong. We literally scored more than any other team.
Losing Amari Cooper was huge, but I would say we're not depleted of weapons when you look at the fact that
if our defense is carrying us right now, and we're
we're
relying on that. And last year we had the highest scoring offense in the league.
2022. Tell me the Cowboys' offense is not as low as winning games right now.
I mean, but we
hurt
really
players.
can't. We can't.
You have no Dalton
can't
Schultz.
compare
You
it
have
to
no
last year
Dak
because
Prescott.
we
You have
also
no
won
James
last year.
Washington. You have
They're better with
no.
those
You're
guys.
just
You
listing.
got Van Zandt.
You're listing people I don't care about besides Dak Prescott. So here's all right.
When he played,
So to close out the segment, Dawson, I think you actually went in a new category we have to create is like trying to not be a homer because you're wrong. It's not Flacco. It's not that bad. But I will say now. But I'll say the other two here went the complete opposite direction, and so like I got them with homers because they didn't give me helpful advice here. At the end of the day, this team is a team that's going to rely on both ends of the ball, and you're never going to put up 35 points on your offensive line. If maybe you start maybe if you put 3 drives on the other side of the field, maybe,
Clip it.
and then we'll clip that, and then over here we're just this whole like Hall of Fame fucking offensive line. Fuck
3 of them.
Fuck that.
Zach Martin, best guard in the game.
Yeah, I contested that, but the other ones they're washed up. They never play, and I'm done with it. Zach Peters, they gave you Peters for nothing. Come on, all right. Maybe I'm Homer the other direction, but it's pretty hard to be Homer when you're.
He chose us.
Anyways, all right.
Because he knew
so
we had a chance.
we're gonna move on from this segment. I think we got some good things out there. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna move into the picks this week, right? We got the last part of the podcast here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna structure it so that we're gonna have. I'm gonna go to each person. I'm gonna give them the spread. I'm gonna give them the over under, and then I'm gonna have them give me one fantasy guy they love from that game, and we're just gonna go around the room. So, all right. So we're gonna start with the first game on Sunday. We got the Jets and the Packers. We are in Lambeau, -7, 45.5 is the over-under. The Jets coming off the big win, Miami, and Green Bay coming off that embarrassing loss, I would have to say, from the Giants. So let's start off, Anthony. What do you got?
Giants look good in that game. Aaron Rodgers won't get embarrassed twice. I think the Jets get whooped here. I don't. What's the spread?
Got 7.
Yeah, I'd say they cover the spread.
All right, got the spread. What do you got on the over-under? 45.5. You're allowed to say I don't care.
I don't care.
Okay. And then give me one fantasy player you like from it.
This is an Aaron Jones game. Jets' run defense is putrid.
Sure. Yeah. When Mozart can go off on you, that's a problem.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got, Aaron?
I'm definitely taking Green Bay. I don't know. I've seen a lot of people pick the Jets as upsets for the Packers this week because they think that because the Jets won last week and the Packers lost that they're gonna beat Green Bay in Lambeau, but I definitely don't see that happening. I think they're super overhyped on all these rookies, young players that Jets have. Jets have a lot of young talent, but they can't compete.
Okay, so we got Green Bay. What do you over under care? 45
under. Green Bay to cover.
Okay, Green Bay to cover, and then fantasy player you like?
I don't really like any of them.
All right, playing no fantasy there. Dawson, we got.
Green Bay for sure. I mean, you're in Lambeau. I'm gonna take the spread. Green Bay to take the spread. I'll say I'm gonna go over.
Over. Okay, so we got split there.
44.5. Player to go off. I would say we'll say Alan Lazard.
Alan Lazard. All right.
I changed my answer. If Green Bay's defense is cheap, I'd pick them in DraftKings.
Oh,
interesting.
Likes the Green Bay defense. All right. So we're gonna hit a cover 4 here. Cover 4.
Cover four.
Let's go. Hey, joke. No, really. No, Green Bay.
Jets.
Look, the Jets got a great win against Miami with the Teddy goes out on the first play. Things just went spiral. Everyone thinks they scored 40 points.
Embarrassed by that.
Which they did. Yeah, it was bad. But Green Bay's not getting embarrassed. Green Bay's coming out of Lambeau. Aaron Rodgers smoked the ayahuasca. He's feeling good. He saw the victory. He's good to go. So 7 there. I don't care about the over under. Fuck that. And I'm with Aaron, but I'm not even gonna back off on it and say like I'll take Green Bay defense. Fuck this game. I don't want anyone in this.
Yeah.
Aaron's gonna spread it around. Not you, Aaron. The other Aaron. And he's gonna spread it around, and so there's no value there. And then the Jets are gonna do nothing. So yeah, I'm good here. So let's move on to Tampa Bay. Start with Aaron on this one. So Tampa Bay -8 against Pittsburgh. I know they've looked poor, but I don't know about Tom. And then we've got 44.5 as the over under, and then one fantasy guy for me. What do you got here?
Yeah, which one is quarterback again? Is it Pickens or Pickett? I always get confused.
Pickett is the quarterback.
Pickett
Pickens is the guy.
Going against Buccaneers. Buccaneers defense is stout. They got a lot of vets on there, and they got a lot of talent. I think they're gonna get destroyed. Honestly, I picked the Bucks to cover by 8. It's fine. I'm picking probably Bucks defense too. That dude's gonna turn over a lot. And Steelers offensive line is not very good, and Buccaneers they have some big boys up there.
Yeah.
For a rookie quarterback.
You like the under then for that reason? You like the under for that
What's
reason?
the over-under?
44.5.
Yeah, I'd probably go lean towards the under because I think Bucks give early and run the ball.
All right, so Bucks to cover the 8, the under, and you like the Bucks defense again. So Aaron's coming out hot with two defensive fantasy picks. All right, Dawson, what do you got?
I'm gonna say Tampa Bay doesn't cover.
Okay.
Not the spread. I think they'll win.
Okay.
But I don't think they're going to cover. I mean, we saw them last game. They almost gave it up. Really, they should have given it up. Honestly.
Yeah,
that's true.
And that was against. I think Pittsburgh's a little bit better than that team too. So yeah, I'm definitely taking them to win, but not cover the spread. I'm going to go with the under because I think it's going to be a defensive game in Tampa Bay. I'm not going to go defense there though. I think Mike Evans is going to have a show out.
Okay.
I think it's a show out. I think they have a good game.
So you think it's similar to last game? Tampa Bay's in control, but then sneaky backdoor cover.
Yep.
Sneaky backdoor cover, and then the under, of course. All right, so I'm gonna touch on that under for sure. I don't see these two offenses doing much, and so I really like the under. I'm gonna be honest. If I'm a betting man, I'm not touching the 8. That's a terrible number on either side. And to be honest with you, if you twist my arm, I'm gonna take Pittsburgh for the same reason you just said. I think that defense kind of falls asleep at the end of games and just kind of goes, "Oh, we've got it. Tom will pick us up."
Oh, yeah, we saw the last game.
We saw the last game, so I'm agree. If you twist my arm, I'll say 8, but I don't like it. 44.5 under, and you know who I really like to have a little bit of a breakout game here. Bold, but I think Najee Harris is going to find him his first game. You know, this defense is very good in pass defense. We saw that early.
Linebackers too.
Yeah, in the linebackers, but I think Najee, he's one of those guys that when he gets to linebackers, he can make a move on them. He's just had a lot of trouble getting out of the starting blocks, and I think he's going to have a good game here. And you know, with the rookie quarterback, hopefully there. And so your MVP, Pickett here. What do you got?
I gotta say, that was Pickett is having a rough start. You gotta start against Buffalo, and then you gotta start against Tampa defense in your first 2 games. Coach, I know Mitch was bad, but you couldn't just made Mitch play those 2 games before this happened. I don't know. Sorry, Kenny Pickett. I mean, I think there's some value and some PPR for your wide receivers, maybe because you're a better quarterback in that aspect. But as a team, nah, I'm going to give Tampa to cover the spread. I really am. I think that this game is not even close. And if for some miraculous reason it is close, the refs will bail out Brady. So I feel pretty confident throwing that spread. And I mean, honestly, I think Najee will be there on the sidelines staring at Leonard Fournette having a great game. And I think
you faked me out.
I think Leonard Fournette, after 4 touchdowns last week, keeps up a little bit of the momentum and finds himself a solid fantasy output. Considering that the Steelers' defense is pretty stout, I like their linebacker core is missing. I think Leonard Fournette has a good week. So
21 points equals 3 touchdowns. All right. Yeah, it's 3. But and then over under, care.
I'm actually going to take the under on this one.
We got to cover 4 on the under. Cover 4 on the under.
I don't think Pittsburgh makes.
All right, fair enough. So, all right, we're going to start off with Anthony on this one. So we got San Francisco and Atlanta. We're at Atlanta. We got San Francisco minus 5.5, over under 44.5. Interesting, a lot of 44.5s this week. And then one guy you're liking. What do you think here?
Might be a little bit of a bold prediction, but I feel like Atlanta's a little due for one after last week. I could be wrong. I mean, 49ers have a stout defense here, and Atlanta doesn't look very formidable. But I think between some of the options of not really knowing anybody on their team and knowing that they're going to throw to just quite anybody that's open, gives them a little dexterity and pass options. Kyle Pitts should be back this week as well. They got a 2 running back tandem back there right now without Cordell back, and they had that Williams kid who's a 3rd stringer, Avery Williams, pop up and randomly get a bunch of yards as well.
I totally thought that was Damian Williams.
Yeah, I definitely did until the end of the game. I was like, Avery Williams, what? Yeah, no, I think they sneakily win this game. What's the spread?
You got 5.5 on San Francisco.
Yeah, I don't even want to bet on that spread. I think this is a close game.
You taking the money line for Falcons?
I'm not taking any money on this game.
You're just giving up on it. You think they might win, but you're not liking that spread.
Exactly. Right. I think it's more of like a bolder pick to say I think the Falcons win this game. I don't want to bet on any aspects of it, though. I think that Jimmy G struggles a little bit this week, just based off of
you like anyone in fantasy?
Fantasy? Tebow Samuel's the only player between both these teams that has any Ravens.
All right, Aaron, what's up?
Honestly, San Francisco's going through some injuries right now. In Atlanta, I mean, they're not playing bad. They're playing a lot better than I thought they were. I thought they were honestly like hot garbage this year.
They were kind of garbage.
I mean, the 2 and 3, there's teams that are worse. I think they'll keep it close.
Red alert, guys! There's teams that are worse than 2 and 3.
Look at you, Raiders.
No, but Niners have a lot of injuries, so I think I'll keep it close. I'll take Atlanta to cover the spread. What was the over-under?
44.5.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the under. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Jimmy G hasn't really shown the capability to have a high-scoring game. And I think Atlanta's defense will keep it close. I don't think they'll give it too many rushing yards. I'll take San Francisco to eke it out, but I think it'll be close. Closer than a lot of people expect.
Fair enough.
We have a similar game script. I just got
You
Atlanta.
got anyone in fantasy besides Debo, or you just fuck this game?
I like Brandon Ayuk, especially in daily fantasy. He's
Okay.
pretty cheap, and Atlanta's getting up a lot of passing yards.
All right, sounds good. All right, what do you got, Dawson?
I'm actually gonna take San Fran, and I'm gonna take the spread for San Fran.
Okay.
I mean, yes, there's some defensive injuries there. I mean, their number one corner's out for the year, and Nick Bosa. I don't know if he's out for this game already or if he's just questionable, but that's something to watch. But I still think San Fran. I mean, San Fran all around is just better defense just in general. Atlanta's secondary is not good. I think San Fran's gonna light them up. Jimmy G's gonna have a good week, and I think it's gonna be to Debo Samuel. I'm gonna take the over on the points.
Got the over. He's got the spread for San Francisco. Basically the exact opposite of Aaron over here. And you're taking Debo, right?
Yeah, I take.
So I mean, we've learned Debo's the guy. I'm agreed. Debo's my guy. I'm with Aaron. I'm with Dawson on this one. I think San Francisco just is a better team, and I think this spread is indicative of everyone thinking this is a trap game and all that kind of crap, and I'm just not buying it. And the fact that the sharps haven't been betting it that way either makes me kind of feel a little bit better about that. The over under I'm not touching. I don't even want to make a bet on it. That's just it could go off or it could not do anything.
Could be nothing.
So so
That's
kind of a
fair.
little bit
That's
split
fair.
there, guys. All right, so a big one here. I'll obviously go last, but we'll go ahead and start with. We'll go with Dawson on this one. So we're gonna start with Minnesota at Miami. It's up to 3.5.
Is Teddy healthy?
45.5 point spread. Skylar Thompson will be the quarterback. As far as Mike McDaniel has said so far, Teddy is in the concussion protocol, the new one that was created thanks to his injury, and he can technically play, but Skylar Thompson has been taking first team reps, and Mike McDaniel is confident in him to start the game. So with all that knowledge at place, you've got -3.5 for Minnesota. They are in the Florida State, though. Go ahead.
I'm absolutely taking Miami to cover the spread here. I am, and I say that with confidence because yes, we still got Minnesota on the other side, so you still got Justin Jefferson and whatnot, but you still got Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, it's like everyone's on this ride. Everyone's talking Kirk Cousins. This is his year. Yeah, he's had a couple of good games, but I mean, it's still Kirk Cousins in my opinion. And Miami's defense is actually pretty good this year. I mean, yeah,
Ben don't break.
Yeah.
I'm not passing wise, but
Yeah, I mean, but it's.
Ben don't break.
Yeah, but I think they have a pretty decent defense. We're on a third string quarterback there, but I think he's going to come out, perform. He's had time to practice this week.
Easily cover that 3.5.
So I think
even win.
they're going to cover the 3.5, and I think they're going to win. I'm not touching the over under and player to perform. I'm saying Justin Jefferson. I mean, I know I'm still saying that Miami's gonna win, but I think Jefferson gets targeted so much. Yep, exactly. Jefferson gets targeted so much, and so I think he's a breakout player, and I also think that that Jalen Waddle's gonna come through and actually have a good game as well because he's had a slow couple weeks in the past.
Well, I'd say that's a gritty pick. So, what you got here, Aaron?
As much as I'd like to pick against the Vikings, they're not playing on Monday Night Football, so I'm gonna pick the Vikings to win and cover the spread. I mean, if Miami had either of his top 2 quarterbacks, I'd probably pick them, but they don't, and I don't trust the other guy at all. Miami's not good at rushing the ball, so they don't really have a good secondary option to lean on if they got a 3rd-string quarterback in. And Miami has been pretty bad defending the pass, and Justin Jefferson is pretty explosive. I like Justin Jefferson in this game to have an outbreak game, or even Adam Thielen if he's cheap in daily fantasy leagues. But I'm taking the Vikings.
All right, Anthony?
So I saw last week's game where the Jets played Miami. I saw Skylar Thompson play. I think he had some comparable quarterback play in there, but then you look at how that game ended, and you just got to think that there's part of Miami that is in an atrocious state right now, and that's not disrespect.
They found it was Chase Edmonds.
They're down to their 3rd-string quarterback right now. It's really rough. But if I'm being honest, I think my thoughts on this game are the only quarterback that could win this game for Miami would be Tua. I don't even think Teddy would win this game. I think Minnesota did something last week for the first time all year that finally was probably the brightest thing if you're a fan of Minnesota.
Scored a rushing touchdown?
Yeah, they actually used their star running back. That is one of the best in the fucking league. They actually were hey, this guy is probably one of the best players in football. Maybe we should give him the ball once or twice. And look what he did. I think Dalvin Cook is something to look out for this game. Despite how good Miami's defense is, Miami's offense is going to give them trouble, so they're going to be on the field a lot of the game. I think Byron Jones is still out too, so I think this is going to be a rough game for Miami. I don't know what the spread is, but
3.5.
3.5. I'm pulling for Minnesota to cover any spread. I'm pulling. What's the over under?
45.5.
I'm gonna pull for the under because I just think it's a rough game for Miami personally, just because of the situation, the state of their team, and I think Minnesota finally comes to their senses a little bit, and this is a big Dalvin Cook game. So.
Okay, so here's what I got on this, guys. I gotta say, last week proved that I understand this team very well by picking the Jets. Obviously,
I also picked the Jets.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. That's all good. But this is not a home pick here. What I'm gonna tell you here is Miami is gonna cover the spread. Not only are they gonna cover the spread, I got the money line on this one as well. I also got the over on this one because Miami's defense is looking a little rough right now. I don't think X is even going to be out there. Byron's already not out there. So we're going to see a little bit of movement from both teams here. But Skylar Thompson, this is a kid that's ready for the time that's ahead of him, right? He looked really good in preseason. First play of the game, he comes out there, and he kind of made a good throw from the end zone that got a pass interference. He was looking good. His numbers aren't indicative of how he played last week because there were so many pass interference calls deep down the field. He also goes for a run on a holding play, slides down, all the play sheets come flying out of his fucking, whatever the play sheet thing is. So now he's running over the side. I don't know how he plays anymore, right? So, but being with the first team offense, this kid knows what he's doing. I got a good feeling about this team this week. A lot of injuries, but we're in this kind of nebulous where we're not sure. But I think we're going to get this one. I think we're going to win down there in Miami. Kirk Cousins is absolute garbage. I know it's not a Monday night, but still. But in general, I got them. And here's something that you guys are going to love hearing here is if you're playing daily fantasy, I want you to look for Cedric Wilson here. So he's a guy that's kind of been hurt and he's been out of the starting lineup. He's been playing a lot on the practice squad down there in Miami. And these slot plays have been Skylar Thompson's kind of favorite bread and butter. Don't worry, we're going to stretch the field with Waddle and Hill. But I think if you've got daily fantasy and he's cheap and you need an extra guy, throw him in there. Look for Cedric Wilson to have himself a big day. Maybe 120 and a tutty. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe 120 and a tutty. So, all right. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one here. Oh, God, if we even spend more than 10 seconds on this one, I'm going to be embarrassed for us. All right. So Baltimore, New York. Baltimore minus 5.5.
Against the Giants?
Again, yeah, Giants. And 45 is the over-under. Yeah, give me Baltimore. Don't care about the over-under. That's irrelevant to me. And as far as fantasy, give me Lamar, and that's all I got to say. I'm not buying into the Giants hype. I'm out.
You know, in theory, I look like a genius if I'm right. Give me the Giants.
Oh.
Give me the Giants. Here's my logic.
You know,
Baltimore's defense is horrible. This is a high-scoring game. Give me the over. And I think Lamar Jackson torches them. I think also Saquon torches them counterintuitively. This is a high-scoring game.
First
4-1,
segment
the Giants.
next week is going to be talking about this game and finding out who the fuck was way wrong.
If I'm right, let's go.
And if I'm right, it's not surprising, but man, did he go out on a limb here.
I mean, look. I said last week, Giants fans out there, this is the best team your team's ever started with, and I think you guys took it a step further beyond my thought of just being an absolute garbage team. I watched that game. They didn't just beat the Packers. They didn't just beat the Packers on a bad day though. They beat the Packers on a good day. If you watch that game, they fought.
Didn't the Giants?
All right.
I got the Giants.
All right, Aaron, who you got?
I got Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
That's it. I don't care who else is on the team. Taking Lamar
Lamar
Jackson.
fantasy
I've seen Giants defense. Ain't nobody can stop Lamar. And I do take Lamar Jackson in fantasy.
Yep. Aaron. Dawson.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.Lamar Jackson. Baltimore's gonna win. I mean, the Giants. I think didn't they just hit their total win from last year too? They finally hit it.
2022 is a new year.
Well, last year they won 4 games. I'm pretty sure. So
AFC beast.
Well, all I can say is right now Anthony's playing a cover 3 and he's either throwing an interception or a touchdown because there's no in between on this fucking.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson.
Either way, I'll throw it.
All right, so all right, we got the garbage of the NFL here, so we'll go ahead and start this one off here. So it's Jacksonville versus Indy. We're in Indianapolis, -2 to Indianapolis, -2. Okay. And an over-under of 42. Keep in mind, Indianapolis has not beaten Jacksonville since 2016. Keep that in mind while making your pick. But anyone's game, I guess. Dawson, go for it.
I'm taking Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I'm taking Jacksonville, no doubt. Cover the spread. I'll go with the under there. And it's because actually Jacksonville, their defense is actually, I've liked their defense.
Yeah.
They played pretty well, and I think it's going to shut out. I mean, Matt Ryan is
Garbage.
yeah,
Booty.
Booty, General Booty.
No, not General Booty.
No,
Be nice to General Booty.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's
fair.
Baker
That's a
Booty.
stretch.
Baker Booty.
Yeah, Baker Booty. But no, yeah, I think Jacksonville will definitely hit, and I think James Robinson's going to have a big game.
Okay. All right. What we got here? So James Robinson, the under, and Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'd take Jacksonville too. They lost me in my keeper league last week, so I don't have much faith in them. But I've seen Matt Ryan play this year, and I'm gonna have to say nothing else.
So Jacksonville, nothing else.
They're both
Jacksonville and fuck the over.
I'm pretty sure the only thing that could save the Colts is Jonathan Taylor, and he should be inactive for this game. So I'm calling it Jacksonville. But for all of you fantasy owners out there that are really pissed off trying to figure out if it's Zay Jones or Jamal Agnew or Marvin Jones, just stop trying to figure it out. Get Evan Ingram. Get yourself a comparable Jaguars player that will get you a stat line.
I like Evan Ingram.
That's who I got in this game. And as for the over-under, what's the over-under?
42.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like 50-0 in the favor of the Jaguars.
Well, that would hit the over.
Yeah, so I'm going with the over.
All right. So I'll say this. The Jaguars, obviously. Maybe we're all wrong, but it's a cover 4. That's cover 4. Cover 4, baby. Maybe we're wrong, but I mean, come on. This Indianapolis team is in their head. They cannot get a win over this team. Even back when Blake Bortles was a quarterback, couldn't get a win against last year. I guess it was Lawrence last year, but then the year before it was God only fucking knows who. I mean, this is just they're in their head. Minshew.
Yeah. Minshew mania.
Oh,
it might not even been Minshew. It might have been like Mike Glennon back then. But I honestly just gotta say, Jacksonville. I don't care about the over/under. I'm with Anthony. It might be 50-0 or 20-0. It doesn't matter. But if there's a team under prop for Indianapolis, take it. I don't even care what it is.
If there's a player on the Colts you should get, it should be their kicker. That guy might go fucking crazy.
Yeah, the punter, you mean?
Yeah,
But no, and if you're going fantasy, give me Lawrence in this one. He lit him up the first time around. Also lit up the Chargers, which was interesting. He's had a tough go of it, but that guy will come back around. Mr. Sunshine always makes a couple good passes. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. New England and Cleveland. We got New England plus 2.5. We're at Cleveland, and then 43.5 is the over under. We'll go ahead and we'll go start with Aaron, and we'll move this way.
Man, Cleveland just kind of makes me depressed. Makes me very gracious that I'm a fan of the teams I am, because Cleveland, they love losing at home. They love losing in heartbreaking fashion. And honestly, this is a game they should win. But I feel like they'll probably lose it at home.
All right. So we got. I guess because they're favorites, so you're going New England. So
yeah.
Over under.
New
Any
England
interest?
with what's that quarterback's name?
Bailey Zappi.
It's still him. Mac Jones not back yet.
The Zap attack.
They actually, I heard some things today that they said Mac Jones might actually have he's not getting along with his teammates like he should, and that's why there was a couple interviews where Bill Belichick had a chance to say whenever Mac Jones comes back that he's a starting quarterback, and he refused to do so, and I think it's because there's some turmoil going on in New England's locker room. So I thought that was interesting.
But yeah, Cleveland's so poor. Cleveland's so poor.
They'll just find a way to lose.
All right, and all right. So you got any fantasy implications there? Zappy. All right, we got Zappy and the Patriots. What do you got?
I'm gonna go opposite. I'm gonna say Cleveland's gonna win this one. They do have a tendency to lose at home, which is crazy in my mind.
Worst way.
That Jets game.
Yeah, I mean, stupid. But I think Cleveland's gonna come back. Nick Chubb, he's a power horse. So even though New England has a good defense for the run, I think that Nick Chubb's still gonna come out, have a good game. But yeah, that's what I'm choosing.
Yeah, I'll roll with you, Dawson. I get where Aaron's coming from, but at the end of the day, I think New England finally showed up last week, but that was against the Lions, and I just think that team's not good.
I just think the coaching will overcome talent.
Obviously, Cleveland's more talented. And just Zappy and all that. I just this seems right. You get good value with the 2.5, right? Because 3-point game makes a lot of sense. Yeah, fuck the over under. And as far as fantasy implications, give me Nick Chubb. I mean, he's having a good year. So and the one thing I will say, on the other end of fantasy implications is, I saw today that the Browns' run defense is giving up an average of 4 yards per carry to every running back that has gone against them. Stevenson's got to be your guy, I think, on the other side of that. But maybe they patch that up, maybe not. I don't know. So Stevenson, just the running backs in this game, take them all, both sides.
The reason I want to go last is because I'm not going to lie, I figured the three of you would pick Cleveland. I was actually kind of surprised to hear that Aaron picked Patriots. But, I mean, here's my thought process.
I think they win last week, honestly.
I think that Jacoby Brissett is a great quarterback. I think Nick Chubb is an amazing runner. And I think this will be actually a surprisingly good game, a surprisingly competitive game. The reason I think it'll be competitive is because on the other side of the football, I watched this game. I watched this Bailey Zappi kid. I like what I see, to be honest with you. I think he's more than just a game manager. I think he's running the offense kind of efficiently. And if you ask me what my fantasy value is, I run a lot of things in PPR formats, so let that be noted. But I think it's a good Jacoby Myers week. When you look at the receivers they have on the field, he's the most consistent without a doubt, and he's built some early chemistry fast with Bailey Zappi in that game. Saw the score. We're doing this live during the Thursday night game.
Not missing much.
Well, we found over the 2 last weeks that it's not worth watching. Man, 3-0 at halftime. I mean,
sorry, it was on Prime.
Lord. Yeah, I feel like this is like a curse on Jeff Bezos.
I think the only person enjoying this game is Jeff Bezos.
No, he's like, I got all these idiots to buy Amazon Prime to watch this garbage.
Defense is about to stack up.
Oh man, at least you got that Chargers Chiefs game started off, made everyone think it was worth the purchase. But good lord,
Yep.
you can watch the box score on this one and be more entertained than the goddamn game. All right. Which is what I've been doing. So anyway, so we got next game here. This one's an interesting one. Lots of question marks. But we got Cincinnati at New Orleans, -2 Cincinnati, 43.5 over under. You got to think maybe there's some Taysom Hill question marks. Is he going to play? Is he going to start? What's the happen? Because you're wondering, why are we getting
Andy Dalton.
and we're getting Andy Dalton, but why are we getting this such a low spread? I mean, we'll go ahead and start with you, Anthony. I don't know.
Michael Thomas is healthy this week, and I think that makes a huge difference. I think Jarvis Landry is also healthy this week. So you had last week where in a game where you have Chris Olave as your main guy, and Andy Dalton's throwing the football, and they went out there and they played some football. Did they win last week?
They did win last week.
Yeah, I remember a lot of good plays. So
Taysom Hill had
a
3
huge
touchdowns,
rush.
right?
Yeah,
3 touchdowns, or maybe it was 2. 60-yarder. I mean, and that was all from backup position because Andy D was the regular thrower. So I mean,
so I look at this team, and I know they know how to get in there and win some football games. You're telling me they have like their best players coming back, and Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry also joining the fold as well. I think this team definitely keeps it close. The spread's tight, right?
2
Yeah, 2 in favor of who?
Bengals. So Bengals win by 3. They covered.
So I don't even know if I'd be willing to bet on that spread if I'm being honest, and I think I almost might go as far as to pick the Saints to win this game, just simply because of the innovation of that offense and the fact that the defense is really stout, and the fact that the Bengals have still really no offensive line. It's getting proven week after week that it is a tough game for Joe Burrow when he goes out there and wins. It's a hard one to decide. I think it's a close one in either direction, but I think I'm going to have to give the edge to the Saints personally.
Okay. So
Players to watch in this game, definitely not Alvin Kamara. Michael Thomas is back. If I can get him in any format, he's probably worth the payout.
Aaron?
I actually really love this game. I think it's gonna be a really great game for two teams that are 2 and 3. It doesn't really do justice to how good this game's gonna be. I mean, you have 2 teams that could very easily be making playoffs. One that went to the Super Bowl last year, and they say Jameis Winston's questionable, so he might come back for this game. Which,
I thought he got benched.
No, he
Not
got
for
hurt. He
Oh,
got
he
hurt.
got hurt.
Got
Oh, shit.
hurt.
I didn't-
not for the Red Rocket.
Oh,
You
my
Yeah.
God.
would bench
People get benched.
James Winston over
They
Andy
look,
Dalton.
in my opinion, they've looked a lot better since he hit the bench.
But like Anthony was saying, the Cincinnati offensive line is just so bad, and they just get beat up so much. And then you got Cam Jordan over there on the other side, and like New Orleans Saints have a really good defensive line. I think they're gonna wreak havoc on Cincinnati, and Cincinnati's got a lot of talent. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, if you can't get those playmakers time to make plays, I mean, what are you gonna do? And that's kind of how we've seen Jamar Chase been limited so much recently. Is like he's a playmaker, but like if you don't have time to get in the ball, or like you don't have time for him to like finish his like second move in his route, he's not a short route runner. He's a deep passer or a deep route runner, and if you don't have time to get in the ball, then he's just gonna be irrelevant, which is what he's been, unfortunately, for all my fantasy teams.
Sweet. So you got Cincy.
So
Who you got to watch?
I got New Orleans Saints winning.
Right. Oh, you got.
I got the Saints. I
I'm saying
don't
such
think
nice things about Cincinnati there at the end.
No, not about their offensive line. I think.
All right.
I think the
So
Saints
New
defense
Orleans,
is going to
and
be
then
better.
who you got to watch as far as fantasy?
I mean, I like Michael Thomas coming back, especially if James Winston's back in there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's throwing the ball all across the
All
field.
right, so we got Michael Thomas, and Saints.
Both great points I'll put up there, but I'm going absolute opposite. I think the O-line that Cincinnati paid for shows up. They don't take as many sacks, as many QB hits as they had in the past. I think Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase is a stack in daily fantasy. I think they're going to go off, and I think they're going to cover the spread.
I got to be
I hope so.
honest with you, and I rarely ever say this, and we'll see if this continues throughout the podcast, but I don't have to say anything. Everything Dawson said. Give me the Bengals. Give me Jamar Chase. Give me Joe Burrow. Crush him. So we got two cover twos.
We got a cover
We
two
got two
going
cover
on.
twos going
We're
against
playing
each
man
other.
right now.
We got
Okay,
the Tampa
that's
two. Tampa two.
Tampa 2.
All right, so great take on that one, Dawson. Loved it. Arizona, Seattle. We got 2 and 3 teams in this one as well. The 2.5 point spread is favored to Arizona, and they are on the road in Seattle. 50.5 to the Fighting Kyler Murrays plus the Fighting Geno Smiths. I mean, what are we seeing, guys? What do we got, Anthony?
All right, so after they threw last week's game in hilarious fashion, I'm going to once again go against the Arizona Cardinals because when it comes down to it, I don't care what talent you have on this roster. This team is embarrassing. They do just really nonsensical things to lose games they should win in instances when they're in good position, and it's quite laughable. I have a really good friend of mine that's an Arizona Cardinals fan. If you see this, I'm sorry.
Is it Cliff Kingsbury's time? Is he the next Matt Rule?
I think, yeah, dude, he should be booted. And I also think Kyler Murray also needs someone to teach him how to make a decision properly. But
he can't see over the line. That's
he doesn't. No film study. It was in his contract. They had to take it out.
To take it a step further,
too embarrassing.
Even if he was playing at a higher level, I'm looking at a guy that's playing at an even higher level. I'm looking at the guy that only 2 people believed in, and that is me and Pete Carroll. Give me Geno Smith again. I was right last week. I'll be right again this week. All right, look. Geno Smith is playing good football. It's time we sit down and fucking admit that. Geno Smith is playing good football. DK Metcalf is finally... DK Metcalf is finally being used as an asset in this team. It's beautiful to watch. I'd love to see it. And now you have, Kenneth Walker is going to be lead back on this team. Young kid, fast, bulky.
I think he was better than Penny anyways.
And Penny had himself an okay game. But I like this team going forward a lot personally. So for me, maybe I'm stupid, but even despite the Cardinals' defense being really good, I think this is an easy decision for the Seahawks to take this, in my opinion.
I'll touch on that. Honestly, so the only reason I'm going against you, it's no good reason at all, but it's really just that Arizona just seems to be this team that finds a way to win every other week or something, and it just seems like the week. I will agree with you on Geno. He has surprised me, and there's nothing with that offense that's any different than when Russell was there. And I don't know if it's Pete Carroll, but I will say something that's really interesting. Everyone should take a look at this as you watch a Seattle Seahawks game. When Geno Smith steps up and goes towards the line of scrimmage, he's doing this amazing thing, and I don't know if film study's going to catch it because I've caught it. But when he gets to that line of scrimmage, his eyes are all downfield. He's ready for that deep ball. If those cornerbacks can stay home as he climbs the pocket, that's basically all of his passes. Look at his touchdown passes this year. Look at his long completions. They're all him climbing that pocket, looking like he's going to run because he's fucking Geno Smith and no one expects him to fucking launch it.
Unless he's throwing a touchdown to my fantasy player, which I didn't point out with. It's actually not Geno Smith. It's my guy, Will Dissly.
I'm telling you, even on those plays, just watch him climb the pocket.
Will Dissly on the
So
other
what
end.
I will say is Seahawks are the better team here. I don't get the spread. And when I don't get the spread, I always stick with Vegas. I think Seattle should be favored. They're not, which means Vegas knows something. Them time travelers, they knew Teddy was going to get hurt. They knew that the Jets were going to win the game. They knew the Bengals were going to win the game, and Tua was going to get hurt. I know this all sounds like Homer shit. It probably is. But when the time travelers tell you who the winner is, listen to them.
I consider if it was on an episode of The Simpsons, but I don't know.
You can put that Homer face on.
Yeah, we still need that
Homer
face.
And honestly, I can't argue with many of your points. You make a lot of great points, and a lot that I agree with. The one thing that I'm gonna say though is, Seattle's defense is ranked 32nd overall, 32nd in rush,
even
26th in pass.
Is that all behind the?
I do
Lions?
believe in Geno Smith. Like, for some crazy reason, like, he's been balling out this year, and I really have no explanation for it. Like, I didn't see it coming. But he is playing very efficient football, and has one of the highest QBRs in the league. But, I mean, Seattle's defense is just so bad. And Cardinals' defense, which is 17th overall, 5th in rush, and 21 in pass. Like, it's not that much better, but it's a good amount better. So, I feel like Cardinals barely losing the Eagles, and they do find ways to lose. Like that, they should have a better record than they have. I feel like Cardinals will pull this one out and probably cover the spread.
That's fair.
Is any
Fantasy players?
I forgot a fantasy
Will
player.
Dissly.
I got Gino.
It's a good asset.
And
I
fantasy
got
player.
Ronald Moore.
And I didn't want to. I don't want to
Coming
touch the
back.
over under. The over under seems. Yeah. Over
I think
under.
it's comparable
I
to
think
the
it'll be a
Lions
high
game. I
scoring
think it's an
I
over.
mean,
I'll probably go under because that's a lot of points.
50 and a half under. All
That's
right.
a lot.
I'll
You
take
wanna
the
touch-
over. I think it's
Take the
pretty similar to the
All right,
Lions
Dustin,
game.
we got.
All great points that you brought up, Anthony, about Seattle, but I'm going Arizona this one. Even with James Conner going to be out this year, like Aaron said, the Seattle defense is just horrendous. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, so I think they're going to hit the over. And honestly, Gino, what he figured out is what Skylar Thompson needs to figure out, and that is if you throw it to a star receiver, they're going to catch it. So if you throw it out to Tyreek Hill, he's going to catch it. You throw it out to DK Metcalf, he's going to catch it. So I think that's all that Geno Smith found out last week, and I think he got a little bit too comfortable last week, and I think he'll actually throw a pick, maybe 1 or 2 picks this game. But
Cardinals defense is good.
it is a good defense. So I think Arizona's going to pull this out. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a high scoring game, but they cover the spread.
Cool. All right, next one we got Carolina at the Rams. Rams are -10 over under 41.5. I'll start this one off. Give me the Rams. I'm good.
Rams.
Yeah,
Fantasy pass bet, get Cooper Kupp. If it,
Yeah,
no matter what he
Cooper
costs,
Kupp.
daily fantasy, pay for him.
Cooper Kupp, Rams.
Cooper Kupp.
Fuck the over under. Don't care.
Doesn't
Don't
matter.
Yeah, I think Rams even to cover the spread.
And
New
this
head coach, it's gonna be a mess.
this is a cover 4. This is a cover 4. Ridiculous. As for my survival league pick this week, LA is going to win.
All right. So next, this one's a little more interesting. So
I'm waiting for.
we'll throw this to Aaron. He'll start. So Buffalo at Kansas City. And Kansas City is actually not the favorite, even though they're at home. 2.5 point favorite to Buffalo away at Kansas City. That's crazy. And over under 54. Over under 54.
That's a high scoring game.
That's real hard. That's hard.
These last games are definitely.
I'm gonna
good
take the
ones.
under on that one. I think the Bills are definitely gonna be on a revenge tour. I mean, they lost to KC in the AFC Championship, or not AFC Championship. Was it the one before that? In the playoffs, and it was a game that I thought they honestly should have won.
It all came down to overtime.
Yeah.
Coin flip.
And then Josh Allen never got his chance. Real disappointing, but I think a lot of them will hold that grudge over into this game. And honestly, I think there's more complete team than KC is this year. Anyways, Buffalo has all the tools. They have a couple injuries on defense that hurt them. They're still gonna hurt because some around for a season, but I think KC doesn't really have what it takes to stop Josh Allen and our offense. And I'm taking the Bills in this one.
That's fair.
If I had to pick a fantasy player, definitely Stephon Diggs.
Let's go.
Honestly, I'll do daily fantasy. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs stack is like one of my top priorities this week because KC defense had the tools to stop him. Stephon Diggs and always gets crazy targets, and it's gonna be a high scoring game. I feel like so.
Last week.
I'm gonna go ahead and jump on to the next person, and I'm just gonna say Bills on this one to cover. And there's a lot of reasons that Aaron already talked about, but the secondary has been getting torched by big playmakers, and so I think Gabe Davis has another great week this week. I don't know about 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 catches, but I do think he's gonna have a good game this week. Even Stephon Diggs as well. I think that wide receiver core in general is just gonna play ball against KC. It's gonna be close. I'm gonna say the over on points. It's gonna be a high scoring game.
Yeah, on this one, I don't really get it. I don't understand why everyone's so hyped on Buffalo. At the end of the day, they're always going to be Buffalo. I've seen them in my division my whole life. I mean,
Just because they lost like 5 Super Bowls in a row.
yeah, just cause. But no, give me KC. I mean, if you're ever giving me KC points, period, I'm probably just going to take it all year long. You don't underestimate Andy Reid. You don't underestimate Patrick Mahomes. So I'll take that. The over-under, man, 54 is really high. I think the last time I remember taking an over on a 54-point above game was when the Rams played the Chiefs a while back, and they scored 105 points between the two of them. So I will take the over again just for that reason. And but yeah, give me KC. I cannot.
It's hard not to take them with the points.
I mean, look, I look at this team versus their previous matchups, and I think to myself, the Bills have to win this. Their defense got better. They lost Tyreek Hill over on the Kansas City side of things. Kansas City's still very formidable, and I think a very stout team. But you also have the passion of the anger coming into this game from the previous way the last game went against them in such circumstances. I definitely feel like this is a revenge game for Josh Allen. I think this is an over as well. I think definitely the Kansas City Chiefs do what they do best, and they hang in this game. But I gotta give the edge, despite everything else statistically that I'm going to say. I gotta give the edge to the Bills winning this game. But for fantasy, I'm actually looking at Patrick Mahomes as the best value in this game, just because when you look at who Josh Allen's going to be delivering the ball to and the mixture of their run game, there's a lot of indecisiveness when you have Isaiah McKenzie and Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. And where the same thing with Kansas City, Travis Kelce's going to get locked down. There's no way the Bills defense doesn't know that they're throwing Travis Kelce. So he's going to get locked down, which is probably still 20 fantasy points, but that's locked down for Travis Kelce. I look at Patrick Mahomes to spread out the ball a lot more this week, and that's why I think Patrick Mahomes is the best asset.
So you think after the first 2 touchdowns, the Raiders weren't aware, but they just kept
but the Raiders aren't the Bills defense. There's a huge difference between those names. That's fair.
No Poyer, right?
That's fair. I'm just saying.
All right, is it Poyer's back? It's high.
Kelsey still eats, but
I got Mahomes' fantasy value, best fantasy value, I guess is the best way to word it. I think there's a lot of fantasy value in this game. I got the over for sure in my mind. I got the Bills to win it barely.
Yeah, you can't go wrong grabbing an offensive player in this one.
You know what's crazy is I don't feel comfortable betting on the spread, but I feel comfortable betting on the over.
Someone's scoring points.
Right.
Somebody's getting a touchdown.
Whoever it is.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to skip over the Sunday night game first so that we can get this trash game out of the way, and then we'll talk Cowboys.
Monday game?
So Monday night game, we got Denver. It's at the Chargers.
I don't want to
Minus 4.5 for the Chargers.
Let's ride.
Over, under 45.5. I'll start. Honestly, I don't even know what to do with Denver anymore. These spreads that are coming out is that Vegas has to be thinking the same thing. I don't fucking know. What can I get people to bet on? And I think this is where they're getting it. And, it's obviously been bet up. The Chargers opened at 3 and went to 4.5. I want to come out and say I don't want to bet on this game. I don't want either side. I know that it's the only game on Monday night, and if I don't bet on it, I won't watch it, and I do not want to watch it.
If you're the Broncos, I'm just saying, Drew Lock might be available. You might want to go out there and trade for him. I look at this game, and I think to myself, Russell Wilson is playing exactly like he did last year in Seattle, and everybody just kind of pretended to forget about that in the offseason for hopes of the upside.
Called the offensive line.
Yeah, it's
now Geno Smith looks good.
Now all of a sudden Russell has a shoulder injury. I don't know. Look, I look at this game.
Been dealing with it all season. Go ahead.
I look at this game. It's Chargers for me all day and night. Whatever the spread and stuff, I don't care. I don't want to watch this game. I don't want to try and convince myself that the Broncos are even going to score any points. I think Austin Eckler is a great asset of this game, and that's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Chargers as well. I don't want to watch Broncos play football ever again. I had high expectations for Russell Wilson, and he has shit the bed.
They had a little promise in their run game, and then Javonte Williams got hurt, and I was like,
It's terrible.
I just thought so much more of Russell Wilson, and now I'm really doubting myself on that. I'm taking the Chargers.
I'm gonna go the same way, but my over
cover 4.
That's a cover 4.
No? That's a cover 3. And
he said a fuck.
Oh,
I'm not even touching it. I can't even want to care.
That's fair.
I know you guys want the Chargers, and that's fine. You all took them. But I'm just telling you, this is one of those games where it's like the Broncos are so fucking bad. I swear, if they come back,
the Broncos should be able to.
But if they come back and cover but if they come back and cover the spread and piss me off, I just as a gambler can't do it. Can't do it.
Russell should be able to
cover 3.
The Chargers defense.
But I will say there is one bet that I will take this game. and that is going to be the over on Melvin Gordon fumbles.
It's 7.5.
He's going to hit 9.
It's probably a half, and you probably get.
Might be a risk to bet. You might get benched by halftime.
It's a play action pass, and he still fumbles the ball.
I mean, Mike Boone, you know.
Mike Boone looked all right. I like Mike Boone.
No,
And you got Latavius Murray.
Holds the ball.
You got Latavius Murray making a start this week, I think. Not a start, but like
yeah,
Latavius Murray is
He's
coming.
active.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
active.
not a start, but like he's.
We'll see about that.
All right, so we'll dig into the last one here. I'll go ahead and start on this one because I'll level set us and then we'll move on. But yeah, it's obviously Dallas Philly. Dallas is a 6.5 point dog.
Ooh.
At Philly though, it gets dangerous there. They like to throw shit. I hear you shouldn't wear a Cowboys jersey in the stadium
Or Santa Claus.
or they're going to be throwing the fisticuffs. You got the 42 over under, which I think is due to the fact that Cooper Rush is still in there, and that formidable offense you guys mentioned earlier is not going to be present, and the defenses are both good on each end here. What I'm going to say on this one is the 6.5 is a great number if you're talking betting for Philly, right? That means they just got to win by a touchdown. It always makes it a little nervous. I think they'll go ahead and cover here. You're in Philly. Philly's looked good. The defense hasn't really been challenged much when you talk about Dallas, and that Dallas offense hasn't looked great, and the Philly defense has looked good. I know as Cowboys fans, you're thinking this is the defining moment in our defining moment in our
We have been defended
in our season. But I think Philly goes ahead and covers this one. But it's going to be close, and I could well be wrong on that one. But I like Philly to cover. I think the number is right as far as betting goes.
Fair.
All right.
I think I want to take the field in this one as the first person of 3 people that are going to pull for the Cowboys on this. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that. Do you guys know that the winner of this game is not just the best player in the NFC East, but they're the best player in the NFC? Or the best, best team in the NFC?
It's actually the best team in the NFL.
Not technically, because there's still a chance that the Bills win, but they'll have a certain record and stuff.
Right, but their strength of schedule won't be as good. So
That's
technically would be the best.
The best in the league.
I'll at least say, just by ranking standards, the winner of this game will be the number 1 team in the NFC. And I gotta say, for a division game, and for the fact that Philly's 5-0, Cooper Rush is 5-0, somebody's got to lose. There is going to be some heat in this game. There is no tie that comes from this game. I think this game is close. I actually will take the under on this game, even though it's 42, because I think this is a very low-scoring game because both defenses are very good. I genuinely believe that Jalen Hurts feels pain for the first time this season against the Cowboys defense, and I think the Cowboys nick it off some field goals with Brett Moneymaker Maher, and it's that kind of game. Cowboys win it.
I like Brad Moneymaker Maher.
Brett Moneymaker Maher, baby. What you got, Aaron? Oh, fantasy value?
AJ Brown. That's
No. I think I would go as far as to say I think this is going to be a good week for Cowboys defense, yeah.
Look, I think this is exactly what the Cowboys wanted this week. It's going to turn out exactly how they planned. They got 2 great defenses going against each other, which is why I kind of sway in a way of Eagles winning. Cowboys do not want to rush Dak Prescott back into things, especially against a formidable defense against like the Eagles, because if Cooper Rush comes out here and he loses the game,
It doesn't matter.
then we can say, oh, we should play Dak Prescott, blah, 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 and then Dak Prescott moves back into the starting job. But if we rush Dak back, put him in this game, and he loses, then everybody's like, oh, we would have won if Cooper Rush is in, blah, blah, blah. It's just a terrible situation. So I feel like, us keeping Cooper Rush in this game, letting him play it out, I don't feel like he's going to be able to overcome the Eagles' defense. The Eagles' defense is really, really good this year, and they got a stout defense line, and they're going to be attacking. They're going to be all over his ass, and it's going to be really hard to run against them. And they got cornerbacks like Darius Slay. It's going to be really, really hard for Cooper Rush to move the ball against the Eagles effectively. And so I feel like the Eagles will probably take this one, but it's what the Cowboys want. Cooper Rush probably lose this game, and they'll move Dak Prescott back in the fold with Chicago and Detroit coming up. Let him have some like easy games, come and like feel comfortable and get himself back in rhythm. Because obviously Dak Prescott's a better quarterback, and he is the future of us. And we stand a lot better chance with him as quarterback because our defense is formidable. We just had to get some points on the board, but I don't think Cooper Rush will be able to do it against the Eagles. So unfortunately, I take the Eagles on this one.
You disgust me, but Dawson, what do you got?
I'm gonna take this Philly fan away from here, but no, I'm going Cowboys on this one. I mean they're carrying so much momentum over from their defensive play last game, especially against a team that was in the Super Bowl. So and a great offense as well.
Only team
So-
beat the Super Bowl.
So I honestly Philly's schedule. I mean the only real team they've actually played is Arizona, and that was even a close game. And they honestly should have. They probably would have. Arizona would have won that game if Prater would have actually made the field goal. But so I'm leaning Cowboys on this one. I think it's gonna be a close game. It's gonna be a defensive game. Philly has a great defense.
So correct someone though. You said if Prater made the field goal, Prater's hurt. They brought in Amendola, which is who. Came
that makes sense
which
now.
is who came in for KC, and they cut him after one day because they realized he's garbage.
Damn.
Just want to point that out.
No, that was. Thanks for correcting me.
And then Kyler Murray didn't.
But also,
Yeah.
Kyler Murray didn't spike it on third down. Like this whole
I'm
time.
not saying anything.
But-
I'm not saying anything Kyler Murray did right on that last drive. I'm just saying part of that I think was also they really felt they had no kicker and they were trying to do something different. But Kyler Murray didn't seem to be on the same page as Cliff Kingsbury, which goes back to Cliff Kingsbury needs to head over to Matt Rule's private island. They need to collect their money from their 2 NFL franchises and find themselves some college fucking places to go.
But ultimately, yes, I'm going Dallas. I'm going
Okay,
Dallas
One thing I will say,
because I think Dallas defense is the test of Jalen Hurts. It really is. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be hurt. I think Michael Parsons is going to have a couple sacks in this one. So yeah, I mean, no doubt it's going to be a close game. But Dallas needs this. This is like a prove-it point for Dallas. Yeah, are they really the team of the NFC?
one thing I want to say is Philly has an amazing offensive line, but there are a lot of people on the injury report right now. So if some of those people come out and like they don't play for the game,
God,
I could definitely see.
off on your fucking pick. Like, come on now, you can't just go.
I'm just saying.
If there's injuries,
They
I'm
have a
going
lot of
Dallas.
offensive linemen are questionable, and if they are questionable, I could definitely see a defensive
Cowboys
line taking
injury
over.
report's looking pretty slim. I'll keep my pick.
There was like 4 starting offensive linemen on the injury report, and if that may miss.
All right. Hey, it is what it is. So we got our picks in, and we'll see how it comes out. First segment next week is to find out if this fucking idiot got the Giants right. But this has been Cover 4 Sports, where 4 guys cover way less than 4 sports.
Yeah, way less.
Looks like it appears to only be one so far, but we're leaving ourselves open for the rest of the year. I know hockey just started.
Well, basketball just started.
It's
Or about to
basketball.
start.
Well, it's about to start.
Yeah,
so
about to
there's
start.
more
Coming
coming.
soon, golf fans.
Coming.
Get the hell out of here.
Djokovic is our next topic. All right. Anyways, but everyone, you have a good night. Thank you.
God bless.